Hello guys, it's Nutter Alex here, and due to popular demand, I'm making a crafting guide video today. So on social media and a couple comments on my videos, people were asking about crafting. So today we're going to go over the basics of crafting. So the first part of the video is going to be your gear, some tips for new players on how to get gear. And then we're going to talk about unit and siege weapon crafting. And lastly, we are going to talk about the technology tree that has to do with collecting resources on the open map, and what you do there greatly improves how well you can craft or what you can craft and how strong the stuff you can craft is. All right, that's it. So let's get into the first part of the video, which is your gear. All right, so we're going to start off with a tip for the new players. If you go over to the stable or the horse seller, and buy the green horse equipment, you can actually salvage this to make yourself gear when you're very new to the game. So what this does is it gives you the base material you need to make gear, and you can start making gear at level 30. It also gives you some of the green material you need to make this first starter gear. You just buy any of this green gear here, you ride over to the smith, and then you click on salvage, and then it's going to open your inventory. All right, so this is where you can decide to salvage any gear you get. You could even salvage horse equipment here as well. And that's just how you salvage. Very simple. The game teaches you that, but the little tip here is that the horse seller actually has affordable equipment to use when you're starting out to get that gear. You can buy the equipment you need in the auction house. That might be better for new players now because the prices have dropped, I assume. So you could buy your basic copper, clothing stuff, scrap iron, those very basic white materials. Also, you have to look out for this colored material. So there's only one of this per tier. One's the mixed weave cloth, that's the green stuff. You want a lot of that at the beginning. The well-worn wood and the steel, you're going to be collecting for a while, and you're not going to really have stuff to spend it on very quickly. Just hold on to it. And lastly, in the gear section, we're going to talk about schematics. So this green schematic is something that you need right away. Try to buy them in the AH when you can afford them, and you can create your own gear this way. I haven't still got a blue one ever from the AH or from battles, so you're going to be really relying on this green gear at the beginning and for quite a while. Also, you want to craft your own gear because you get bonus stats on whatever you craft. So that's it for the crafting gear section. Let's jump into the crafting materials and crafting unit kits. So how I start the process is I talk to the unit weaponsmith. And honestly, the game doesn't make this very easy on you. So you have to do some math and you have to have kind of good memory. But I recommend that you make these green ones as soon as possible. They're extremely easy to make and they will cut down on your bronze spending a lot. If you look at the top right corner of the screen, you will see that it only costs green materials to make. Now as we continue, you can see there are blue unit kits. These are reserved for the silver era units. Blue unit kits are a little bit harder to make, but it's still doable at a low level, but they do require more farming and therefore more time. They also require the blue materials, as you can see in the top right. Then we have the purple units, which are heroic era units. And if you look in the top right, you can see that they require the purple materials. And then finally, we have the gold or the yellow unit kits, which are the golden era units. As you can see in the top right, they also only require the purple materials. The last thing to mention about unit kits is that each region is unique in what unit kits you can craft, so you won't be able to craft all of them. You can, though, craft any unit kits you want in the Borderlands. So once you remember what materials you need from checking at the unit kit officer, you come to this guy, the refinery overseer, and you can just start crafting. The green materials just cost whatever materials you collect on the overworld, so you don't need anything special. That's why I recommend new players to craft the green ones as soon as you can. You just have to go out in the open world and collect whatever resource you need. Now, the blue ones are where it gets a little bit tricky. For blue materials, you need to have special materials that you get in the overworld. So this one in the top right-hand corner is flax, and these are considered exotic materials. It is worth noting that each exotic comes from a different place. So some come from the copper mine, some come from the sheepskin and the skinning, some come with the cloth, some come with wood. There's a separate exotic from each material you get on the open world. And if we go to the purple quality stuff, you will see there are purple and blue exotics. Blue exotics can be found somewhat easily, but the purple exotics you can only find in the Borderlands, and not every node will actually have the purple chance. So the purple materials are extremely hard to come by. So anything blue is going to be harder to get because you have to get lucky to get the exotics on the open world, and purples are going to be extremely hard to get. Sometimes you can only get the materials in the Borderlands. And greens you can create at any time. You don't need any exotics, you just need the base material you get in the open world. Now lastly, let's talk about Siege. You make Siege the exact same way you make unit kits, so it uses the exact same materials. You just have to talk to the Siege engineer. And likewise, he has blue quality gear, green quality gear, and purple quality gear. I don't really recommend creating Siege. I've never used the blue stuff. It's probably stronger. I don't know if it warrants creating blue Siege weapons. The only thing I can say though is if you are going to create blue Siege weapons, create the mortars. They are more rare, they're very strong, and they're only created at blue and up. So now that you know how to create the materials to create the unit kits, let's figure out how you get the exotics. So firstly, you leave your fief. I bring an army of serfs because it actually gives you more labor, which gives you more resources when you collect. For more information on those, watch my first leveling guide video. But you take your serfs and you go into the open world. Now, if you look at the possible result, those are your exotics. So it's a chance to get these. I wouldn't say go out specifically for the exotics, unless maybe you need the mortars for a hard keep to take during territory wars. But just be aware that you can get these. I believe the higher tier quality of whatever you're collecting. So right now it's green sheepskin that I'm looking at. If that was purple or blue, I believe it increases your chances of getting more exotics. It is possible to get blue exotics in the open world in your home region, but if you want the purple ones, you're going to have to go to the Borderlands. Just the final point on collecting. I would say collect once a day. You actually get experience for collecting, and there's this little daily quest that essentially subsidizes your collecting once a day. You get 1,000 bronze for it, which will almost pay for a daily collect. So maybe once a day you go out, find a purple resource, and collect just for the exotics. It will be somewhat paid off. Last thing I'm going to talk about is the technology tree. You get here by pressing U, so how you would normally get to your units or unit tree, but it's actually a selection in the top right. Leveling this is pretty slow, but it increases your exotics, so it's actually very important. So what I suggest is just unlock the first 3 trees that you can upgrade. Start with them. They're going to increase the resources you get and the exotics. Then I suggest putting 1 point into each of the next tree, and then in the third tree, that increases your exotics by a lot, by 100%. So you will receive 100% more exotics when you collect from a resource. I suggest choose one. To help you choose, you could try to decide which exotics you get the least of, and maybe go for that one. Maybe in your region, blue exotics are easier to come by, so it might be smart to go for that one because you get more blue. But I suggest going up to 1 tree to get that exotic perk and then push for the next exotic perk. It's a huge increase and you just really want to work on getting them as quickly as possible. It's not really much else to say about the technology tree. As you can see, some of it's closed off and they have plans for it, so who knows what that will bring. So that's really it for the technology tree. That's it for the crafting guide, guys. A lot of people had been asking for this guide on social media, so I decided to do it. If you found the video helpful, please like and subscribe. If you have any requests, put it down in the comments. I do videos on Conquerors Blade once a week, and they're always guides like this. If you're a new player, check out my first video. It's a leveling guide. It's 1 to 60. If you're a little bit of a higher level, maybe you'll find my 60 plus leveling guide helpful. But that's it. Have a good day.